Working on links and radio and drop down. Use object dot get of location dot get text. This is a syntax. Okay, na? This is a syntax for
Yeah.
working on links and radio buttons. No, links and drop down. Now working on radio buttons and checkboxes. Working on radio buttons and checkboxes. The syntax would be is object dot get of location dot get attribute get attribute dot get text. So instead of get text, we use get attribute. The get attribute may have a value or value plus. So value is nothing but something like milk, cheese, butter. These are all the values. And this attribute will identify the values and checked elements. Their values and the checked elements mean the status of the element, whether it is enabled or disabled. What about these things will comes under checked elements. So the attribute will identify the value of a particular object and the name of that object. Name of the object mean that it will identify the whether it is enabled or disabled status of that element. For example, we'll work with the echo.com in this website. So now I'm going for tutorials. Under the tutorials, you can find with HTML. Under the HTML, you can find HTML forms. Under the forms, there you can find checkboxes. Under the forms, so when you click on the forms here, you can find radio buttons. Have you observed this? Click on the radio buttons. So these are the radio buttons which are going to get the status. So these are all the names. These are all the values. Names checked. Checked is whether it is enabled or disabled. So here, what is the status of butter? True. If it is selected, true. If it is not selected, null. Okay, na? Null. Got it? Hello?
You got it.
Okay, na? So these are all the values and these are all the status checked, enabled or disabled. So I want to open this page echo.com. Under that, I want to identify the status of the radio buttons. I want to identify the status of the radio buttons. So for that, I'm going to create a new package working on radio buttons and checkboxes. So right click on the project, go to new, click on the package, mention as radio buttons, click finish. Right click on that, go to new, click on the class radio 1, public static void main, click finish. So now here I'm going to use system dot set the property of webdriver dot chrome dot driver comma d : chrome driver dot exe. Chrome driver d equal to new chrome driver. Now change to chrome driver org dot openqs selenium. So here see change to set property. Now change to chrome driver org dot openqs selenium chrome. Here all the same thing. Now what I need to do the variable, I'm going to get the page. So which page I want to get? I'm going to get the URL of this page. So d dot manage dot window dot maximize. maximize. Once it is maximized, I want to get the title of the page. So I can use system.out.println d dot get title. Similarly, system.out.println d dot get a current URL. So I'm going to get the title and URL of the page. After that, what I'm going to do, I want to inspect this entire tab that I'm going to store it in a web element. So just inspect that element. So this is the element which have been captured. Is there any ID? No ID, no name, nothing. So what we can do, we can go with copy XPath. Okay, na? Copy
XPath.
XPath. So that I'm going to write as
Yeah.
web element, something like R1 equal to D dot find element of by dot XPath. Just I'm going to copy the XPath of that element. Now, just after that, I want to store them and I want to get the list of elements. List web element, R2 equal to R1 dot find elements of by dot tag name. So what is the tag name here? So you need to identify the tag name here. Just click on this here. You can find it tr td. See, each element started with input. Have you observed this? Just you can identify it. Input type, input type, second method, input type, each and element. See, these are all the elements. So started with input. So tag name would be input. Okay, na? Tag name would be input. Now I want to get the size of those elements. System.out.println r2 dot size. Now once I get the size, now what I need to do, I need to read each and every element from that element. So for int I equal to 0, I less than r2 dot size I plus plus. Now, so I want to get the status and their values. So further we use system.out.println r2 dot get of I. I told you get of I dot get attribute. We'll use get attribute. So what is the syntax here? Get attribute of value, get attribute of value, and get attribute of check. Both we need to show. So get attribute of value plus. So I'm going to concatenate with that elements. Which one I'm going to concatenate? So here I'm going to concatenate the two elements. What are those elements? The values and the status. So I'm going to concatenate these two. And there is a space between these two, right? There is a space in between these two. So what I'm going to do, give the space here. Again, R2 dot R2 dot get of I dot get attribute checked. సో దాని నేమ్ దాని చెక్ స్టేటస్ చూపిస్తుందన్నమాట. స్టేటస్ అంటే ఏంటి? అది నల్లా లేకపోతే సెలెక్ట్ అయితే ట్రూ చూపిస్తుంది, సెలెక్టెడ్ కాకపోతే నల్ అని చూపిస్తుంది అనమాట. ఓకే, సో ద వాల్యూ ఈస్, సో గెట్ అట్రిబ్యూట్ వాల్యూ అంటే ఇవ్వండి. వాల్యూస్ ఆర్ నథింగ్ బట్ మిల్క్, బటర్, చీజ్, నల్ ఇవ్వండి. అండ్ గెట్ అట్రిబ్యూట్ చెక్డ్ అంటే దాని యొక్క స్టేటస్ అనమాట. ఇవి చూపిస్తుంది అనమాట. దీస్ ఆర్ ఆల్ ద స్టేటస్ అండ్ దీస్ ఆర్ ఆల్ ద వాల్యూస్. ఓకేనా? Now save the file, run as Java application. Observe this. So title, URL, number of elements. These are all the values. Milk, butter, cheese, water. These are the values. And these are all the checked status. Null. It is selected na true. And the last one, wine is selected true. Remaining or null. Okay na? Got it?
Yes.
So this is how to check the status of the radio buttons. Radio buttons. We'll see one more example and we'll go with the check boxes. Now, So we'll go with one more example. So I'm going for new tours. Under that, my scenario is I want to click on the selenium. Under the selenium, I can find the radio button. Have you observed this? Radio button and check boxes. See, can we check the status of these elements? Can we check it?
Yes.
Yes, I want to check the status of these elements. Okay. So for that, so I'm going to create one more class. Go to new, click on the class, mention as radio button 2, public static void main, click finish. So under that, I'm going to write system dot set the property of webdriver dot chrome dot driver d colon double slash chrome driver dot exe, right? So after that, chrome driver d equal to new chrome driver. Now change it to chrome driver words dot open case selenium chrome. Similarly, change it to chrome driver words dot open case selenium chrome. Now, so what I need to do, I'll take the path of this element, right? So instead of clicking all these things, just I'll take the copy the URL d dot get d dot get. I'm going to use the URL here. Now, after that, d dot manage dot window dot maximize window dot maximize. Once it is maximized, I want to get the title of the page. So system dot out dot println okay na? Current URL. Now I want to check the status of these radio buttons. Now click on the inspect. So just click on that and click on this button. So we cannot find separately. All this comes under one tab only. So that means that we can identify the checkbox and radio button the same syntax. So we'll try to work on both. Okay. Now click on this tab. What is the tab? Is there any ID? Is there any ID?
No, no idea.
No ID, no name, nothing. So what we can do? We can take the X path. We can take the X path. So how do you write? Web element, something like a radio button and check boxes. Okay, na? Equal to d dot find element of by dot X path. Just I'm going to copy the X path. Now I want to get the list of elements. List web element R and C 1 equal to R and C dot find elements of by dot tag name. What is the tag name here? So we need to identify the tag name started with the tag name, ended with the name. So for that, just click on the TD div. See, have you observed this? Each element started with input. This is option 1. Second,
Yeah.
option 2. Third, option 3. Each element started with the input. Okay, na? How do you write? Tell me. Input. Dot input. Now I want to get the size of those elements, right? Change the list java.utility function. I want to get the size of those elements. After that, so I want to read each element. For int I equal to 0, I less than dot size I plus plus. Under that system dot out dot println of R R and C1 dot get of I dot dot get attribute है కదా, get attribute value, plus, so space in between these two, plus, so R and C1 dot get of I dot get attribute checked. What a name, what a status. Okay, na? Their name and their status. Okay. Now save the file. Now, once I get that and want to take the screenshot for this page, I want to take the screenshot for this page. One more issue is there. So what is an error here? So we need to
There
close.
is no.
Yeah, one more
There is
bracket.
no space. Given.
Space I given that. 1 second. 1 second.
By dot tag name. By dot.
Okay, na?
Yeah.
One more there. One more error is there. By. So
By dot tag name.
okay. Now, so after that, we need to take the screenshot. Yesterday, I showed you how to take the screenshot. So file src, some variable s1 equal to take screenshot of d dot get the screenshot as output type dot file. Now file utils dot copy file dot copy file of s1 comma. I want to move the variable s1 to some new file. Which file? d colon double slash s2 dot png. So this is the how to take the screenshot. So change to file java.io. Now similarly change to take screenshot. Now change to screenshot as change to Java file java.io input output. Now add through declarations. That's all. See what it is showing is the first line indication shows that I am going to take the screenshot of the page new to of the page radio buttons and checkbox window. And whatever the output I'm going to take, that output as a variable and I'm going to store it in a file called S1. I want to move S1 to some other file. So file utils dot copy file. Which file I want to move? I want to move S1 to a new file. Where you want to move? In D drive. What is the file name? S2. What is an extension? .png. Okay, na? .png. Save the file. Now run as Java application. After this, option 1 null. Since option 1 is not selected, option 2 is not selected, option 3 is not selected, checkbox 1 is not selected, checkbox 2 is not selected, all are null. Now I can check the status. Now I want to do is I want to select the option 1 and I want to select the checkbox 1 and I want to check the status. Okay, na? Got it?
Yeah.
So for that, what I'm going to do is just I'm going to open the page and I want to inspect this element. Which element? Option 1 element. Option 1 element. Is there any ID?
No. Yeah.
Name is there,
ID. Yes.
but ID
Yes.
is there. ID is different, right?
Yeah.
ID is different. So can I take the ID for this?
Yeah.
So where can I write? Before capturing that elements, I'll write here. Okay. D dot find element of by dot ID. By dot ID. ఏం చేయాలి dot click కదా, right? Dot click. And similarly, I want to select the first checkbox. Click on that and click on the first checkbox. What is ID here? This is ID, right? Okay, na?
Yes. Yeah.
Tell me how to write the d dot find element of by dot id dot click.
Dot.
Okay, so for your understanding, just write first radio button, first checkbox. Okay. First of all, I'll click that element and I'll check the status of those elements. So I'm going to run the script. Okay, na? It is selected there. It has been selected here. See, and I will check the status of those elements also. See how you observe this? First one is true. Checkbox one is, got it? Okay, Chandu, Krishna.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Selecting the radio button and checkbox and identify the status. Identify the status. So this is how we are going to work on this part. Now I will give a task to you. You try to work on those elements. So what you need to do is, in this echo.com, we already worked with radio buttons, right? You try to work on check boxes. You try to work on the check boxes. So what you are going to do is, you try to capture the default element. Okay. You try to get the status of the default. What is the default here? Butter. Okay. Now next time what you are going to do, you select the remaining elements, milk and cheese, and get the status.
Okay. So we need to click milk and cheese as well, right?
Yes. You need to select the milk and cheese and get the status. So what we
okay,
have
the
done, right?
status would,
Yeah.
so the status would be true, right?
Yeah, true. Before selecting, it should be null, true, null.
True.
Null.
Oh,
So
okay.
after selecting the elements, true. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
You can try with this elements.
Yeah.
Next, we'll see the next topic is called actions. What do you mean an action? What do you mean an action? User performing certain operations using mouse and keyboard. మనం మౌస్ తో చేస్తుంటాం, కీబోర్డ్ తో చేస్తుంటామండి. వీటిని ఏమంటామంటే వీళ్ళు కాల్డ్ యాజ్ అడ్వాన్స్ యూజర్ ఇంటర్ఫేసెస్. వి కాల్డ్ యాజ్ ఏ అడ్వాన్స్ యూజర్ పర్ఫార్మింగ్ ఆపరేషన్స్ యూజింగ్ మౌస్ అండ్ కీవర్డ్స్ using mouse and keywords which we can call it as advanced user interfaces called as advanced, using the mouse movements and the keyboard mouse. So mouse movements, like what kind of advanced user interfaces? Some of the advanced user interfaces are, one is mouse movements, second one is right click operations, third one is drag and drop, fourth one is, we can go for menu bar also, we can go with the menu bar. So mouse movements, right click operations, drag and drop, slide bar, you can next date picker, next selectable, movable, చాలా ఉన్నాయన్నమాట. Okay, so but at least we need to know basic elements. Mouse movement, how we are going to move the movement menu bar when you are working with menu. So here, for example, we are having file menu, file, new, edit, those things are called mouse movements. Those are right click operation. We cannot do automate some manual operations cannot be automated. Like which one we cannot automated? Right click operations, which we usually use to work with the manual operations. Whatever manual operations you want to do automated, those are nothing but actions. What are those actions? Mouse movements, right click operations, drag and drop. For example, I want to place the image from a location to location. I want to drag the image. Slide bar. For example, you want to purchase a particular product. When you drag your product size from minimum value to the maximum value, we used to use slider in Amazon page or Flipkart. In that pages, we used to work with the sliders. What kind of slider? I'll show you. Minimum value, maximum value. When you move the slider, automatically it will shows the price value, minimum value, price, maximum value. Sliders. Date picker, from date to date, from and to dates. So we can use calendar. Calendar is a date picker. We can use that. Selectable, you can select particular element from the list box. Movable, you can move the elements from the location to the location. Those kind of things which we are doing manually can be automated by using a function called actions. Okay, na? We call it as a actions. So user performing, so that is user performing manual operations can be automated by using a function called action. We'll call it as a actions. Okay, na? So what are these kind of actions? We'll see it out. The first one is called as a mouse movements. What do you remember? Mouse. So when you go with the mouse movements, just I'll show you. Here is the website is a jqueryui.com. jqueryui.com. In this website, here you can find some of the user interactions like draggable, droppable, resizable, selectable, sortable, next buttons. These are called user interfaces. Okay, na? Got it? Date picker, dialog button, menu bar, slide bar. These are called actions. Okay, na? Okay, Chandu?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now to work with this, first we should have to know a function called switch statement in WebDriver. The switch statement, not in Java, I'm saying in WebDriver, I'm saying. Switch statement in WebDriver is using switch statement, using switch we can move from window to window, window నుంచి window కు move అవ్వచ్చు, from window to window, window to frame, frame to window, frame to frame, frame to alert message, alert to frame, alert to window, window to alert. ఎలాగైనా మూవ్ అవ్వచ్చు, విండో నుంచి విండోకి మూవ్ అవ్వచ్చు. స్విచ్ స్టేట్మెంట్, ఐఎమ్ నాట్ సేయింగ్ జావా స్విచ్ స్టేట్మెంట్ హియర్, ఐఎమ్ సేయింగ్ దట్ ద స్విచ్ ఎలిమెంట్ which we are going to move from window to window, window to frame, frame to frame, frame to window, window to alert, alert to window, alert to frame, frame to alert, అలా మూవ్ అవ్వచ్చు అనమాట. ఒక విండో నుంచి విండోలోకి మూవ్ అవ్వచ్చు. ఆ ఫంక్షన్ ఏంటంటే స్విచ్ స్టేట్మెంట్ అంటమాట. స్విచ్ అనే ఫంక్షన్ ద్వారా యూ కెన్ మూవ్ టు మూవ్ అనమాట. హియర్ in this window, for example, I want to work on drag and drop. For example, we'll consider the drag and drop. I want to perform these operations. Like I have some image here and I have one more image here. I want to place this image in this part, right? That is a drag and drop. We'll call it as a drag and drop. Actually, we are doing this as manual. We can also perform this by using an automation called as actions. సో దీన్ని మనం ఏం చేయొచ్చు, ఆటోమేట్ కూడా చేసుకోవచ్చు అనమాట. ఎలా ఆటోమేట్ చేస్తాం? సో హౌ వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు ఆటోమేట్ దిస్ ఇస్, now I want to drag this element and I want to place this here. Now for that, first of all, what I'm going to do is I want to open the page. Under the page, first I need to identify whether it's a window or a frame. Is window lo unda, frame lo unda? First you need to identify it. If it is a frame, now I need to move from, this is a window, from window I want to switch to frame. Under the frame I want to perform these operations. How do you know whether it is a frame or a window? For that, I'm going to inspect that element. Just capture this. When you place it here, here you can find a iframe అని ఉంటుంది చూడండి. When you scroll up, here you can find iframe. Observe this.
Yeah.
1 second. See, so this is a frame, right? See, iframe, frame of that element. These frames can be identified. So the frames can be identified by using index value, or by using name of the frame, or by using web element. మనం ఈ ఫ్రేమ్స్ ఎలా ఐడెంటిఫై చేస్తాం? ఇండెక్స్ ద్వారా ఐడెంటిఫై చేసుకోవచ్చు, నేమ్ ద్వారా ఐడెంటిఫై చేసుకోవచ్చు, వెబ్ ఎలిమెంట్ ద్వారా ఐడెంటిఫై చేసుకోవచ్చు. నెక్స్ట్, the default index value for any frame is 0. So index value for any frame, a frame kani, window kani, alert messages kani, 0 to start avutunnata. So here, do you find any ID here for the frame? No ID, no name, no web element. So in that case, what we can do? We can take the index value 0, right? So ఏం చేస్తాం? I want to move from window to frame, 0th frame లోకి వచ్చి ఈ ఫ్రేమ్ లో ఈ రెండు క్యాప్చర్ చేసి డ్రాగ్ అండ్ డ్రాప్ యూస్ చేస్తాం అన్నమాట. ఓకేనా? గాట్ ఇట్? So now, so first one is working on drag and drop method using actions. Now see. Now see. So first of all, I want to open the page. Under that, I want to capture that frame and I want to move from window to frame. Under the frame, I want to capture these two elements and I want to drag this element and I want to place it here. This is the first part of your drag and drop. So for that, I'm going to create a package. Right click on the WebDriver, go to new, click on the package, mention as actions. Click finish. Under the actions, right click on that, go to new, click on the class, drag and drop, public static void main, click finish. So I'm going to use system.setProperty of WebDriver.Chrome.driver, comma d:/Chrome driver.exe. After that, I'm going to use Chrome driver d equal to new Chrome driver d.get. I'm going to place the URL of the page.
So meeting will get ended in 1 minute, sir.
So can you rejoin it again?
Yes, we can.
Okay, do one thing. You just log off again, you log in.
Okay, sir.
Okay.